Holy Testicle Tuesday. What the fuck are we doing right now? Oh, I know. It is time for another edition of The Underground. And this is a special doom, death, metal kind of edition of the show where we're spotlighting a up-and-coming new doom death band all the way from Spain. We talk about so many times on this show the great doom bands that come out of Europe, especially in Sweden. But, you know, if you don't know it yet, there is an amazing doom scene in Spain all over. And we are lucky enough and pleased enough to have Jebre from Sølnegre, who are about to release a couple of singles, but the one in particular we'll be talking about today. We will get to that in a minute. But first, fresh back from the road, I am back from the Villain Arts Tattoo Convention in Chicago. So let's take a quick commercial break to our friends at Villain Arts. Check it out. That's right. It is just more, much more than just a tattoo convention. It is a way of life. Anything from sideshow performers to even some really cool spirituality, as we witnessed the Aztec ceremonial group that performed this past Sunday. The next one coming up, we will not be, myself and Mischief. We won't be there, but there is one coming up next month. So keep tuning in to them and find out where the next one is going to be so that you can be a part of the experience. All right. We are back with Jebre from Sølnegre. Hopefully I said that correctly.
You did.
I'm hoping.
You did. So I mean, how cool is that? That the conventions looks great. So guys, thanks for having me here. I'm thrilled to talk about Sølnegre, what we are doing, and what we are going to do in the short run, in just 10 days. And thrilled to be here, and it's such a great opportunity. Thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. It is widely known that my show here at the Underground is about highlighting all of the best artists and talent in all types of metal, not just doom. I know I do a lot of it because myself, I am also in a black and doom band myself, but to really bring it out to the masses, that I feel when I hear a track from somebody, it's like the world has to know, and the world has to know about you. So as the little promotional thing I got here, they called you Majestic Doom Death Metal. Majestic. Now, that is definitely something I agree with. From the beginning of the track to the super surprise towards the end of the track. And we'll get to that a little bit later. But the track that you're going to be releasing is Vessel Part 1. Is that correct?
That's right.
And it is called The Night Within. So do you want to kind of talk about with us a little bit about what it's about?
This track obviously will have a second part, which will be the first track from our future full release that will come down the year. But this first part, it's a very special song and talks about how easy it is to be the vessel for depression, for this kind of existential void, this kind of anxiety, how easy it is to become a vessel for that feeling. So the song is basically, I mean, the lyrics are from the point of view of this bad feelings, this anxiety and this depression trying to take over someone and make a vessel out of this person. And it's about it's basically about that, how is it to become a vessel for this darker part of oneself. And it's a thing that we feel very close for the reasons that probably we'll discuss during this interview. So it's everything is based on kind of a personal experiences and things that really happened on our, I mean, especially during this last 2 to 3 years, which were pretty hard.
The world at large.
Absolutely.
Let's face it.
Absolutely. So the vessel is just about that. It's about how easily can you fall and be prey of that.
Sure. And that is definitely something that is universal, I think, with all metal fans of all types. It's definitely something that they can identify with. And everyone always says, doom bands are all about the occult. And for the most part, that's very true. Most people probably would just look at that title and go, oh, demonic possession. Okay. Because at first, that's kind of how I took it. But now I see, from what you explained there, that it's not too much different. It's more real.
Okay. That's what I was going to say. I mean, to believe that you end up being possessed by a demon is nothing more than being possessed by a darker part of yourself, right? I mean,
yes.
I mean, this is a matter to be, I mean, this can be discussed, but the point is that at the end of the day, the worst demons are within you already. I mean, that you don't need a demon just straight from hell or anything like that. The worst demons are the ones that you create within yourself, and if you let them take over, that's what happens. That you become the vessel for this kind of negative impulses and this kind of self-destructive thoughts. So this is what it's about, and obviously this will have a second part. But yeah, this is. I mean, I think that up to a point, doom metal has become just like a bit of what black metal was back in the 2000s. Everything is much more stereotypical. You always read the same kind of lyrics about the same kind of things, talking about the same topics, and it's a thing which is basically in the style, right? But I guess that when you listen to a track that has a lyrics that come from a real experience, which in many cases, I mean, you can find this in many other bands, of course, but you realize how real these feelings and these thoughts are.
Oh, very much so. Mental health, I think a lot more in today's doom metal, maybe not the last 20 years, but I'd say probably about the last 10 years. It's really started kind of going into, like I said, more realism, more things that each of us deal with every day. The aesthetic is always there. And let's face it, what is doom metal? The darker side of life. Everything that is either mysterious or, things that people don't want to talk about. Because, when it comes to like a lot of death metal, black metal, especially, they have just like one thing. It's like doom metal can talk about an array of things. And like you said, in the last 3 years alone, I mean, there's just been enough chaos, destruction. Especially with the whole COVID thing. I mean, that hit everybody super hard. So it's very easy to lose yourself in something like that. Even just like, madness. I mean, you look at Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath talked about everything that was basically going on around them. So I really like the concept that you guys got going here. And it says that this little article here, introduction of the song reflects very well how much they are influenced by old school vibe of the 90s doom death. What does that mean to you? I can tell you some things that I hear. I hear kind of like maybe a possible reference to a pale horse named Death, Typo Negative, and a few other, like almost more like funeral doom. It's just like you feel this something is coming just right out of the gate on this track. Why don't you talk about some of your influences?
Well, I guess that probably everything comes from the same moment in time, which was back in the 90s, like 94, 93, 90 something. I got a pre-existing band with one of my best friends who is with me on this project. He called himself Rigel. And we were exchanging tapes at that time, and we were much into what was the vibe on that time. It says Norwegian black metal, and it was like the golden
Nothing
age
wrong with that.
of the yeah. No, absolutely. We are, and we still huge fans of that, and we feel much more influenced by that we can express. I mean, that's our foundation. But we started exchanging tapes of what we call the big four at the time, which were Anathema, were My Dying Bride, were Paradise Lost, and the fourth is, I don't like that band that much, which is Cathedral. I would say Catatonia. By the way, Catatonia, it's they were much more influenced by the Swedish black metal at the time, but they had a very much more doomish, let's say, point
kind
of view
like
on yeah, absolutely. So that sound influenced us like a lot. Still, we were much more on that extreme, let's say, side of things. We at the time we play like black death metal, that kind of vibe. But we were, and we still influenced by what we discovered at that time, which was this kind of slow, doomy sound, but had nothing to do with the kind of Sabbath thing. This came later. At that time, we were not much fans of this Sabbath vibe, which we are now. Probably we love and admire that much more now that we are in our 40s than we were. That we did when we were in our 20s. But by the way, this kind of 90s doom metal vibe influenced us heavily, and still doing. And when you need a reference, when you need to, let's say, go back to the basics, you go to the first two Anathema albums, the first EP and the first LP from Anathema. You go to Paradise Lost, probably mid-90s age. You go to My Dying Bride, probably first two albums. The rest, obviously it's good, but probably the first influenced us heavily. And Catatonia, you go to Brave More Day, and this kind of Swedish kind of black doom metal vibe. So that's our source. I mean, that's our foundation, and probably the style advanced a lot during these years. It turned more sophisticated and progressive and so on. So we like to participate on that, because as a musician, that's like that's another journey that you have to go to try to convey new influences and try to do something with them, because otherwise, at that time, of course, happened what happened also with other styles like death metal, especially, and black metal in another way, in the sense that there were a lot of bands that just were copying one to each other, and probably the style just turned more sophisticated during as time go by. And everything turned a bit more complex. But I feel like if I have to go back in time and try to convey my influences and look for a source, should be these big four British and Swedish doom metal influences. That's where everything comes from in terms of Sølnegre, at least.
Nice. And you touched upon some bands that don't get really talked about as much. Because when people talk about the 90s, they talk about Type of Negative, like here in the US.
In the US, of course,
having that slow, just like a crawl kind of groove, big open chords, and Sleep. I don't know if you're familiar with Sleep.
Absolutely. And just I mean, put this in perspective. That bands just, I mean, you are barely going to find someone here in Europe in the scene that knew Sleep before, I would say, 2000 something. I mean, at that time, they were not very well known in Europe. Type O Negative, yes, they played in huge festivals. I remember a Dynamo or a festival like this in Eindhoven in 90 something. They played there, and they were. I mean, Type O Negative is a thing that you usually saw through the MTV and I mean the Peter Steele thing. I mean, it was all about charisma and it was a huge and influential
or
musician.
Lack of charisma.
Yeah. That's exactly the point. So, but it was something very different. But no one in Europe would tell that these bands are an influence for the doom metal scene in Europe, at least at that time. They would talk to you about the British, maybe tenfold. Yeah, I mean rather than but about Sleep, and High on Fire and all. I love that band, and I love everything that Matt Pike did. And absolutely, and they're amazing. But probably these guys don't count as an early influence. Maybe on the last 10 years they've been huge in Europe and they've been rediscovered and so on, but at that time, no. At that time you got this British kind of vibe, which was a bit more different than what you used to find at the time, which was much more death metal oriented scene. The American death metal Florida scene was huge in Europe, and that was a recurring influence for all the musicians at that time. So when something new came in, like this doom metal vibe, mid 90s, it was huge, and there were just a few bands, and the scene started to develop at the time. But yeah, it's funny to see how we see the same phenomenon from both sides of the pond. So you have one set of influences, and probably in Europe things are a bit different.
Sure, absolutely. And for us, here, especially myself, I've always gravitated towards the great, European bands, both, black metal and doom. Like I said, there's something in the water in Sweden. There's just all these great bands that just keep coming out. We just don't even understand why. Just great musicianship all the way around, and so much originality. You talked a little bit about, how people are trying to copy each other all the time. That's America all the way. Every damn band, I swear. Something gets discovered, and then all of a sudden everybody says, oh, we need to be doing this. And it's like, no, you don't need to. It's what you feel. Doom metal is more about what's in your heart, like it just takes you to another place. And listening to your song, definitely, I also agree with this here too. It moves in a solemn procession-like mood until the central part, when a massive ultra virtuose, I can't even fucking say that, virtuosic solo takes over to a cataclysmic conclusion. I mean, I have to agree with that all the way. And as a matter of fact, our producer Genghis there was blown away by your track as well. We just never know. I get sent a lot of stuff, and I really, I took my noise canceling earphones so I could just close my eyes, listen to your song, and I was hooked.
Look,
Now,
my take on this is that there are only two kinds of music in the world ever: the music that moves you, and the music that just passes through you and makes you feel nothing. And there's no good or bad music. It's just music that moves you. And I guess that probably if that music comes from someone who has been moved by that feeling, it's easier to reach someone and to move their soul accordingly, because it's something that comes from your heart. I mean, we are not in the need to do music to just to convince others that we can do music. We do music because we feel that we have to. And this is, I mean, probably there's a lot of people doing that here and there, of course. I'm not claiming that
sure,
we
it's
are.
what drives us.
Yeah, but this is kind of a subconscious level of communication, and it's easier to move someone if you are moved yourself by what you do.
Absolutely. And you can almost, when I hear a vocalist, either it's one or two things. They're assaulting you with their brashness, or you're feeling 1000% unadulterated emotion. And that is one thing that I can definitely say about the vocalist of your band. And it's so interesting too, because some of his vocal delivery reminds me of Max Cavalera
I
of
wouldn't say, I
early
wouldn't say no.
Sepultura,
Yes,
just a little bit, like a little bit of influence there, maybe a little Soulfly. It's there, but the way the long screams, they're flawless.
he
There's not
will
a lot of
please.
vocalists that can really hold that scream for that long, and you're just waiting for the next word like it's your last meal.
Wow,
You know what I mean?
that's super cool to hear. I mean, he will be very happy. I mean, in fact, in this project, probably we'll go through this later, but I'm just hanging on people that in some way, I mean, we can easily synchronize in terms of how we feel and how we deliver music. I mean, it's not only about technical prowess, which of course makes a difference. It's not about that. It's how that people can sync with you, and you can make them participate in what you are feeling when you compose a particular song. So in this case, probably he don't want to hear this, but Miguel I mean, he's pretty fucked up. I mean, each one of us has our own set of problems, of course, but he's
Sure.
on a bad situation, and he was at the time he recorded this song, and you can feel that, and because he's much into what he's saying, and the style he's using, and it's not a thing that you can pose. It's a thing that it's just there, or it's not there. And in his case, due to his personal circumstances, I mean, what you hear is for real.
Yeah. And it's very legit. Much like, let's say, Jonathan Davis of Korn. It's like
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're on two different, levels of music style, but when we talk about vocalists that really deliver their own pain, I definitely get that vibe from Miguel. So, yeah, definitely let them know. I'm a fan already. I can't wait
I
for
will.
more.
I will.
And the drums. Now, being a drummer myself, anything from, let's say, Bill Ward to Johnny Kelly, Vinnie Paul, the groove meisters of metal. Those are the ones that I love the most. Don't get me wrong, I love a lot of technical ability, and I've always been very well known internationally because I play doom metal a little bit different. Yes, I deliver the slow, but I have double kick, which is almost unheard of in doom music. So the fact that he threw some in there, I was like, yeah, and it was tasty. So
Uh,
tasty. So it makes me wonder what some of his influences are. Maybe like a little, Neurosis, or, somebody like that.
I would say that he's much into progressive. I mean, Tomeo, who is the guy who just records the drums, is close friend of mine. Again, he will hate me for saying this, but he has a slight obsessive compulsive kind of thing. He's an excellent drummer.
Oh,
He's an
that's okay.
engineer.
I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah, but
My own worst enemy.
yeah, but I mean, I cannot ponder this, but his level of attention to detail is just unbelievable. I mean, he's an engineer and he works as an engineer, and
That's
I mean,
awesome.
yeah, I've sent him the tracks with let's say an indication for the drums, and he's just coming and I want to do this here, and here you have three options. I give you three options. Which one you prefer? Depending on what you say, I'm going to prepare another set of options for the coming break, and it's like, whoa, that's intense. But of course, you know how this works. I mean, again, it's about technical prowess. It's about believing that your technical abilities are on the spot. But aside of this, it's you know this as a drummer, you know this very well. It's how you hit. Is how you hit.
Oh, yes.
What you feel when you hit, and it's
I
all
call
about
it
that.
dropping the hammer.
Absolutely, and that makes difference. I mean, it's 10,000 years away from playing on I mean softer and on with a certain mood, or with to say in some way playing 90% of your capacities than playing 100% on your capacities on the spot, and believing what you do. So again, Tomeo he's a drummer for a very successful doom metal band, which is Golgotha in Spain. They are great. Where I mean, he's been playing with them 5 years, 6 years, something like that. But that band dates from mid 90s, or I would say early 90s. So they've been doing doom since forever. And he's a drummer for these guys, and these guys are playing. I mean, they are touring, they are playing in festivals, so on. But the influence from Tomeo is much more from the progressive kind of vibe. He loves this kind of bands like Symphony X and Dream Theater and this kind. He loves that technical stuff because probably that's a challenge for him. And playing some other kinds of music are not that much a challenge. And but
That's
again,
very true.
The point is that when you have something in your mind and you want to write drums for, I mean, just as an indication for the drummer to play this on the studio, you have two options: be in control of everything and say, okay, I want double kick here, I don't want this here, or let everyone do their job in the best way they can. And in this project, for me, it was like a landmark to let everyone do what they wanted with my songs. I mean, I don't want to impress anybody. I don't want to be the leader of anything. I'm just a person who's channeling a certain kind of vibe.
Sure.
Okay, guys, I have this for you. Just feel free to do whatever you feel you have to do with this. And they did. And I think this is I mean, and this is there, and you can find this very easily on the track.
So did you guys just kind of like get together and jam this out, or are people sending files? I don't know. It just all depends if you guys live in the same area or if you're in different areas of the
pretty
island.
much we are sending files. Pretty much is that
Okay.
the only time I mean, again, since each of us is a bit I wouldn't say, I love to play with my friends, which is the
Sure.
case, but under these circumstances on which well, all this project just was born under a certain set of circumstances on which each one of us was pretty much doing their own thing, and we got no time nor the intention to meet, to jam and check the tracks and check the arrangements. It was, I mean, I've been composing in this way since 25 years ago with my prior bands, and I am a professional bass player for the most part. So with my other projects, which are completely different than this, which are much more oriented on the usual way of doing things, we have a room, and then we meet there and have beers, and we just jam on the tracks and do all this kind of things, which are super nice. I mean, I enjoy a lot doing that. But for this project, since it appeared under this kind of weird set of circumstances, it was just, hey guys, I have this. Try to do something with that. Are you joining us to play drums, to play guitar, or to do vocals, do whatever? And we started building the project on this kind of
That's amazing.
yeah, and everything grew by itself. And Rigel just told me just a few days ago that we were about to lose control on the growth of this thing, because it is growing by itself. I mean, I'm doing nothing, and more songs and more songs are being created on a weekly basis, because yeah, I mean, but again, it's a completely opposite way of doing things compared with what I did on the past, on which you just got a few riffs, you get along with the guys on the rehearsal room, try what's right, what's wrong, do this, do that. But my point, Ripper, is that that's a way of doing things, that's perfect. And I do this with other bands, but in this case, it just appeared. I mean, it's a thing.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, absolutely, it is.
See, I've been trying to tell other colleagues of mine, and I think a lot of Americans don't really realize how some of these bands work. They don't live all in the same place. Mm-hmm. Can you still create and make an amazing album by doing it this way? And it works.
It works. Absolutely.
There are so many bands, big bands, that do not live in the same state here, because there's 50 states in ours. Mm-hmm. And it's like there's Canadian bands that I've interviewed also that do it this way. And then they, once they get the album done, and they do maybe like a week of rehearsals, and then they do a fucking tour. It's like, it's possible.
It is.
Just because you don't live in the same spot. I get people, message me all the time. Oh, I can't find any musicians in my area. I said, well, shit. Talk to people.
This is how it used to be before internet and before.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Might as well make it work for you, though. It's
my first experience working this way. I have to be honest, but the point is that if you want different results, you have to try to do the things in a different way. And at that time, we got no time nor we were not in the mood just to go to the rehearsal room and practice all the things, and because of course when you do that, you are get a bit lost in the process, because there are some arrangements that they may work very well, but for the most part, I think that having this under control and doing this as a obviously we recorded everything in a studio, right? But for the composition process, I think works, at least for me, works better if you are inspired. The problem is that if you don't have
inspiration is everything.
It's everything. If you are not in the mood to compose, or you are not channeling these kind of energies in the right way, you probably need someone else and rehearse in a rehearsal room and try to figure out what works best. But in this case, at least, when there's something which is just flowing, just don't try to catch it. Just let it flow, and just try to make it move forward. And so we did. But as a musician, it's an interesting thing to see after all these years, of course.
Yeah, and that's one of the many great things about the technology that we have today, is that we're able to, even if you're just only musically inclined on one instrument, you can still write, a song, compose it, like, let's say classical music, anything from Beethoven to Mozart. All they did was they had a piano, and they just went on from there. And then the next thing you you have this big fucking orchestra piece. So it's like, how's that any different today? You can still do that. There's so much technology out there that you can even program things so you can hear what it's going to sound like once you've created it. And then you find the right musicians, to put that touch on it. And I'll tell you what, I am just blown away with what you've been able to achieve. So
yeah,
my hat's off to you for sure. And this interview should be very inspirational to everyone out there in Three Witches Land. If you're in a band, you don't necessarily have that ability to have a jam spot with XYZ. Start, form relationships through some of the, Facebook groups, maybe Instagram, other musicians. They're everywhere. You might be able to find the right people that way. All right, real quick, we're going to take a quick commercial break. There is a new single dropping that has been conjured by me and Iron Serpent, and the song is known as The Gods Weep. If you loved, and I know all of you have, our first single, Aramon, check this out, April 1st. Right, on April 1st. It drops everywhere on all streaming major platforms. You can pre-save it now. Go to Iron Serpent, the Facebook page, official Iron Serpent, and you can get that pre-save link. Make sure you hit it so that you got it when it hits on April 1st. All right. So, it's like we were talking about that, how it tells the tale. People hear a title like that and they're thinking, okay, this is another occulty thing, but it's actually not. And you can tell by the lyric video that our wonderful producer Genghis had put together there. It tells the tale of a struggle from when I left Black Tar Superstar to me reuniting again with the lead guitarist from that band and creating something so much different. So something to think about. I don't know if you guys are doing, any videos or lyric videos. They're effective if the imagery tells the tale.
I absolutely agree. I mean, have in mind that we live on a culture which is basically visual. I mean, the music is. I mean, of course, it's a thing.
Oh, your country's beautiful.
It is, especially our island. But the point is that probably the music is the thing that has been with humanity since since we were apes, basically. I mean, it's a thing that just came along with us, and it's a part of our spiritual heritage and so on. But we are, for the most part, visual animals, and especially with these new kind of things that which are going on, social media and so on, we are much more. I mean, I heard that you remember only like 200 words that you heard during the day, or 100 words, but you unconsciously remember like thousands of images, because your brain is prepared just to capture that images. And even if you don't process them, they stay within you, and you process this at a subconscious level, which it happens to be the case with lyric videos. I mean, I love that way of communicating. We are preparing a lyric video, or at least
Awesome.
I wouldn't say lyric video, because I was talking to Rigel just a few weeks ago, and he told me, why didn't you just put out a straightforward lyric video with the lyrics and so on? And I say, because I'm not sure that someone will stay for 11 minutes just to follow the lyrics. Probably that's not going to
Right.
happen. And I prefer to do something visual, something abstract, so everyone can have their own take on what's happening on the video. So in this project, I'm acting not only as a composer, but I feel that I need to explore other horizons, like the video creation and the art and everything. Obviously, this art is not done by me, but it's been arranged under. I mean, I just took care of the whole thing, and for me, it's a new experience, because again, on our past band, these tasks were distributed between the members. So this is like my creation, but for real. I mean, I'm trying to have a word on everything without imposing my own will on anything. But again,
For sure.
I'm working in this kind of conceptual video that will be released on the 29th this month. So in just 8 days, it's
Nice.
next Thursday, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be released in a well-known magazine, which is No Clean Singing. Probably we'll get to that on a second, but that was our first option. But again, in our second single, which will come down the year, probably in June or something, I'm working on another conceptual video as well, because as you mentioned, what goes through your eyes is as much important as it is as what was going through your ears, because we live in this culture, and you have to live with that.
It's very essential, and that's one thing about a lot of doom bands that some of the bigger ones anyway, they really kind of get it. Even when they're playing live, the visual art aspect is there, or the aesthetics are there. And I really feel Genghis nailed what a lyric video should look like. There's like a mix of some realistic things, situations, because that song, like I said, it's about transitioning from one huge band to something brand new that we've always wanted to do. So, you can really kind of capture that, and all different ways, like you said, different imagery, even some actual, video like footage. I've seen a lot of doom bands do that. Even with, like, I don't know how they did it, but they got like movie scenes and stuff that can kind of just coincide with whatever the song's about. And it's just like, that is so much cooler than some of these real dry lyric videos that just don't capture it. Yes, you get the lyrics, but it's not showing you what it's about. So it'll be awesome to see what you come up with.
Again, Reaper, I mean, if you do the same things over and over, the results will be the same over and over. And this is pure physics. And I mean, no one is trying to discover the wheel here, but the point is that if the thing that you are creating really captures the essence of your music, and you want to bundle everything into a product, a visual product, which is also audiovisual, in the sense that has a track on that, and everything it's related, and everything works together, just do it, because the world we live in, it works that way, and there's no point into trying. I mean, here in Spain, at least in the scene, you have both opinions. The opinion that everything it's better if you work the old ways, like old school, without backing tracks, without click, without anything, and just playing raw like in 70s, because that sounds better and that captures the moment, and the moment is the only thing that exists for just a single second, and that's fine. I know guys that do this, and they do very well. But in this kind of music, you as a drummer know this very well. I mean, this music works better if you keep the pace, you stay cold, you play in time, you play like drop the hammer, and
you have to be tight.
Yeah,
you gotta be tight.
Yeah, that's right. And probably this is the thing that you feel when you go. I mean, we've been in huge festivals, and especially doom metal festivals through the years with our pre-existing bands, because my story and Rigel's story is just parallel to yours with your colleague, and you feel when that band is playing just 5 BPMs less than and you know that heavy, you feel that heaviness, and you feel all that air moving. So and also the audio visuals. But having said this, I've been in some concerts that it's just an insane display of video creation and lasers and things, holograms and things like that.
That's a little too much.
It's a little too much. That's the point. But as long as that works for your music, I mean, my point is that I'm trying to think outside of my box, in the sense that I'm trying to do something else, not because I wanted to be successful with this, because I'm doing this because I feel that I have to do this, but also because as an artist, to create certain limits is just pointless. I mean, it's better to just let it flow wherever it takes you, and visual creation is an important part of this process.
Absolutely. So, very special thanks to the Metalist PR group for allowing us to give you a taste of The Vessel Part 1, The Night Within. Let's take a quick listen to that right now. Goodness. I'm just like swaying the moment I heard that. I'm just like, fuck.
How cool is that?
And it's like, everyone out there who just heard that, everybody out there in Three Witches Land, you don't know what's coming, because what comes after that is just beautiful darkness in its purest form. And I was just talking about this with Genghis, the producer, earlier. That epic interlude that you have towards the end of the song. I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but wow. Not something you would typically hear in a song that is so beautifully slow and heavy. And then there's this, oh man, so good. And it just builds and builds and builds. And then we find out that your guitarist is kind of like a Steve Vai.
Don't tell him. Don't tell him. I mean, he will be bombarding me for 3 weeks after hearing this. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's one of his heroes.
And, oh shit! I nailed it.
Yeah. I mean, there was. I mean, yeah. You just ruined my week, because he will be bombarding me from now on. Someone realized that. No, I mean, this guy. The story behind this is that Mike, which is this guitarist playing this part, He's a professional musician. I mean, he could live out of this and do international tours and clinics. He's an educator. He also has a channel in YouTube, and he's pretty much he's more into other styles like this metalcore and gent and this ultra
Oh,
technical
okay.
progressive kind of thing. I mean, he has a very 80s style, playing this kind of solos, but what he loves is that this percussion kind of animals as leaders kind of thing. He loves all that stuff, which is not my thing, but he loves that.
Sure, sure.
So I
But
came
the
up with,
solo fit the
yeah,
part. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? It fit the song like a glove.
let me
And it
let
was
me tell you
just,
why. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it was just an
ab-
amazing evolution. And was he playing that kind of like that drone lead that was constantly playing throughout the song?
no, no, no. He just recorded this part. I mean, and he
Oh,
wanted
just
just
the
to do.
solo.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha.
Let me tell you why. I mean, this guy, as I mentioned, I mean, he's been playing in this kind of metalcore bands. He's been touring, and he's been a successful educator
Hmm.
and session guitarist for sure. But he's a bit outside of the scene now for his own personal reasons. And I mean, we always wanted to do something together, but I'm not going to soak in this kind of progressive animals as little things, because even though I would love to play this, it's not my cup of tea. I mean, that's
I
good, but
understand.
yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever. And
Great
obviously
for a
he,
guest.
yeah, and at the same time, he's not an extreme metal guy. Aside from this metalcore kind of
Ah,
thing, which is, I mean, he wants to stay out of this, and he had some bad experience with his past metalcore bands, which were
gotcha.
amazing, by the way. And I just tried to find the middle ground, and I told him, hey, listen, I have this. I would like you to have a solo of of yours here in my song. I know that it's kind of a middle ground because it's not your thing, is but it's basically my thing. What do you feel about this? And I was hoping that just was going to tell me. I mean, come on, is no, thank you. But he took, like, I mean, everything that you are seeing here is recorded first take. I mean, this guy's a mother. Is I mean, he's very very good. I mean, he told me that this was kind of an inspiration for him. I mean, he listened to the whole thing.
Nice.
He wanted to hear the context, and he said, okay, I'm not much into this, but this is my take. This is what I feel when I listen to your song. This is what I would like to do. And he came down with a 3 minute and a half solo or something like that. It's 3 minutes on 3 minutes or more than 3 minutes of solo. And obviously, if you talk about what's stylish and what is not, I mean, this is a thing which is a bit outside of the style, because doing this
It
kind,
was, but I loved it.
yeah, yeah, again, again,
That's the thing.
again, to try to do something which is outside of of your comfort zone. That's the point. So he just dropped by, and he told me, I mean, just have this 3 minutes and a half. I would like to record this because I think that fits your song. And I listened to that and I say, wow, I mean, this is going to hurt. Yeah,
It's gonna
yeah.
kick you right in the
Yeah,
balls. That's what it's
yeah,
gonna do.
yeah. But
Holy
yeah, I mean,
shit.
yeah, and he composed this in just a couple of hours, I would say, or perhaps, yeah, yeah. I mean, this guy is it's
What a
otherworldly. Yeah,
virtuoso.
yeah.
My goodness.
He's amazing. But aside of that, he can spend like 6 months without playing. I mean, he's on his other stuff, and he's not. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Must
uh,
be nice.
I mean, it's
The rest of us practice at least 2 hours a day.
absolutely, we do. Even I do for my professional things, but not is not his case. I mean, he's just it's an inspirational kind of thing.
Unreal.
He's yeah, but aside of this, his contribution is very 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 welcome, and I'm so happy to be doing music with him. And again, in this project, my goal is for everyone participating to do their own thing. Try to fit what you think within my project, because I lack any ego on that regard. I mean, in the past we played in bands when we were much more directed. Play this, play that. I don't like this. I don't like that. Try to work this in another way. No, it's not the case of Sølnegre, and that's why I'm so happy about this, because everything comes like I mean, perhaps it's a bit weird, but I'm not composing. I'm channeling something out of somewhere, but I don't know from
That is
where
not
or.
weird.
Uh,
Nope.
but
You're harnessing energy
yeah,
that you have felt throughout yourself.
yeah,
Sometimes it comes from a place we don't even know why. You know what I mean? Inspiration is everywhere.
yeah.
And it in a way it becomes very spiritual. Even if you're not a spiritual person, you know what I mean? So it's like something just hits you. And I've been saying it forever. There's just something in the air since 2023 has hit. And it's like kind of like a renewal, a strength. It's we're going to, put our foot in the ass of everything, that is coming our way, and you're going to have to listen to it, and we're going to force you to do it. And what you're doing, everybody needs to hear this. That's all I can say.
What to say? I'm flattered. It's a thing that I don't feel I deserve, in the sense that I've been nothing but doing this process of, this. I mean, if this happens to you, you are no longer allowed to not to be a spiritual person, because you participate on this. And as you say, you. I think there were the old Greeks, that they believe that there was a kind of a world of perfect forms, which was on another scale or dimension, or call it whatever you want. So the forms and the shapes, everything was perfect there. So you as an artist could have a glimpse on that. You are not allowed to understand that, but you are allowed to have a glimpse of what's happening on that side of the mirror. So in some cases, the old Greeks believed that the artists, the poets, and the actors, and the singers, and so on, they could somewhere have a look at these perfect shapes and try to explain to the other mortals what was there. So I feel a bit in the same way, in the sense that I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel I have to do this, and I have to move forward with this project, because again, it's not only about technical prowess and your skills on composition. It's much more about the moment on which this channeling is possible, and probably all the people involved in Sølnegre have felt that this was the right moment to start this project, and try to convey everything that we can from this other world of perfect shapes.
Absolutely. Here in the States, I like to call them the shadow ones. And when they give us these feelings, these emotions, these energies, and then suddenly we just feel called to create. And what you've created is just amazing. The doom community, the sludge community, stoner metal, honestly, across the board, can get with Sølnegre. It's going to be amazing. In 10 days, where can our viewers out there in Three Witches Land find this song?
So our premiere will be on No Clean Singing, which is one of the in Europe, it's probably
Sure.
where everyone wants to be. In No Clean Singing, probably will be about this hour in 8 days now. So 29th March, first single, Vessel, Part 1, The Night Within.
Any plans for like Spotify, YouTube, anything like that?
Yeah. Probably it will be released on Spotify 1 week after. at least this first single. Probably all will be. I mean, and what we are going to release in No Clean Singing is this video we talked about. It's not just plain and single song. It has this
Right.
conceptual video, and what else? And probably we'll make an announcement regarding a label. And probably through this label, the video will be also available on their list, on their platform, so you can enjoy this in multiple ways. And it will be 9 days.
Man, so excited. I really am. Because like I said, I've had the privilege to listen to it. And, all my viewers out there in Three Witches Land, I ain't about that bullshit. I am about everything that is great in the underground. And when I tell you that this band is going to blow your fucking minds, listen to me. So when it hits, you have got to follow them. Follow them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, everything. Everybody out there that's been watching, thank you so much. Share this interview out everywhere. Very inspirational. Like I said, I have a lot of musician viewers out there. Hopefully this has touched you in a way that gives you, thank you, Babylon Sun. Babylon Sun says, can't wait. And he's an amazing artist also. But, like I said, this really kind of broke down a lot of barriers that most of my viewers look at as it's like, no, this is impossible. No, you have made this dream happen. So we've got to get you out there. Thank you again, the Medalist PR, for reaching out to me and bringing me such a talent that has excited me so much. And I just can't wait for the world to hear what you guys have going on. So with some of the new fans, even though they only heard a 30-second snippet of what you got going on, what would you like to say to them?
I would like to say that it's a pleasure to have you on board. It's a privilege to be here through Witches Land, Reapers Underground. I'm just flattered by that. I don't know what to say. I would like you all guys to participate in this. Just have a listen. Let me what you have to let me what you want to say about this, and what I aspire the most is in making you participate in what this meant to us. So just give it a try and enjoy Vessel Part 1.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Jibre. And I wish you nothing but success. I want to have you back on once you guys get going with any of your updates and all the big stuff happening, especially if, you're going to end up doing some live performances, whether festival or, anything local at all. Here at Three Witches Entertainment, we will definitely promote everything that you got going on. So definitely check in with me anytime. I'd love to have you back on. Actually, about the next month or so would be awesome. So thank you for taking the time with me today. And thank you to everybody out there in Three Witches Land for tuning in. I know it's early, but in Spain, it's much later. You have to respect that.
Thanks so much.
But the most important thing is, definitely, after you put this on your calendar for when this song drops, remember to stay heavy.
Rotten in this wasteland, left us some bleach the bones. Kiss the death in the palm of my hand. More food.